Medicine cannot stop, even half-demons can transform into dragons. Introduction. Once traversed, transform into a green snake and half-demons. The great demons are raging, humans are hunting, survival is difficult, fortunately, talent awakens. Strong bone grass quality. First level ordinary grass drug properties. Promoting blood circulation ±3, removing blood stasis ±3, strengthening tendons ±4, strengthening bones ±5. The way of heaven is to make up for the deficiency when there is excess damage, and to make up for it with medicinal properties. Drug properties. Promoting blood circulation ±0, removing blood stasis ±0, strengthening tendons ±0, strengthening bones ±15, strong bone grass bone forging spirit mushroom quality. First level of ordinary grass, first level of spiritual grass, Hualong Zhi Quality. Spiritual grass level 9 drug properties. Blood gas ±200, dragon blood ±150, dragon blood ±50 medicinal supplement. Drug properties. Blood gas ±0, dragon blood ±0, dragon blood ±400 Hualong Zhi Qinglong blood element, quality. Immortal Grass Treasure, Dynasty Qi Yun, quality. Fairy grass 9 levels, medicinal properties. Good weather conditions ±200, national security ±400. Medicinal supplement. Medicinal properties. Smooth wind and rain adjustment ±10086. The power of heavenly gang calls for wind and rain quality. Fairy grass 9 steps divine treasure. Everything can be used as medicine. The medicine can't stop, it's over. Chapter 1. Medicine cannot stop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The vast and mysterious world, the mundane world. The great Xia Empire, in the winter of the 33rd year of Emperor Jing. Blizzards continue, and strong winds howl. The road has frozen bones, and the white disaster covers the northern plain. Northwest Road. The capital of the 3 counties, Los Angeles. The crisscrossing underground karst cave area is still muddy and dirty, making it nauseating. Bang! A slightly damp karst cave, the gravel blocking the entrance of the cave was kicked away with a loud bang. I saw a big black cat with pitch black hair, over half a meter long, slowly walking in with elegant cat steps and saying, "Little green snake, have you cooked the medicine well?" Master Cat. On the opposite side, a thin and weak green snake half-demon with a human upper body and a snake lower body, about 1 meter tall and covered in blue scales, is rapidly swimming out of the cave, with a hint of appropriate fear on its face. I was just about to go find you, but the medicinal juice has turned pitch black. I guess it's already cooked. Look. Suwu was cautious and didn't dare to show any dissatisfaction on his face. In this world, it is difficult for humans and demons, but even more so for humans and demons. It has been 3 months since he traveled here, and countless fatal crises have taught him more than anyone how to assess the situation and observe his words and expressions. The demon tribe believes in the law of the fittest, and the lower half-demons are slaves and blood-eaters. This situation is even more severe in the underground caves of Los Angeles. So being cautious at all times and paying attention everywhere is the way to stand and also the way to survival. Is it cooked? The black cat's emerald green eyes flashed with a hint of doubt, and then its cold and deep voice continued to ring. Bring it over. Yes. Suwu dared not hesitate at all and quickly responded. Those who plan first and then prosper, those who plan first and then perish. He also took into account the current situation, so facing the suspicion of the cat demon, although he couldn't help feeling a bit panicked, he did not lose his composure. At this moment, one could see a mud jar hanging on the campfire in the depths of the cave. The boiling medicinal juice kept boiling, and Suwu didn't hesitate at all, so he forcefully picked up the mud jar. The scorching temperature caused the scales on his palms to explode inch by inch, and bloody snake blood flowed down the edges of the mud jar, creating a smell in the surrounding air. My body is trembling with pain, and my hands are as stable as mountains. Returning to the side of the cat demon all the way, the medicine in the stone bowl was not spilled at all. After the temperature cooled down, the black cat rolled up the mud jar with its tail and drank the medicine in one gulp. Next came another wave of silence, with each cat and snake's breath unconsciously slowing down by 3 points. After a long time, I saw this cruel cat demon, the pupils in both eyes finally slowly retracting, and a satisfied expression flashed in the bottom of their eyes. A deep voice sounded at the same time, "Not bad, I can feel that the broken spine is quickly repairing, and the medicine is sufficient. You cooked it just right." As it spoke, its slender tail also swayed casually, indicating a slightly cheerful mood at the moment. Seeing Su Wu still standing respectfully beside him, Black Cat glanced at the medicinal herbs at the bottom of the bowl before continuing to ask, "I don't know how long it will take to recover. Do you think I need to continue taking these medicinal juices?" This. Su Wu didn't answer immediately, pondering for a moment before saying, "I have limited medical skills and strength, and I really don't know how to judge it. But I thought that with the strength of an adult, even without taking medication, I could definitely recover completely. So whether or not to continue taking medication is entirely up to you." He lowered his posture very low, looking obedient. "You only need to answer the questions of the superiors and cannot make a decision." After pondering for a while, the black cat said, "Those humans often say that it will last for 100 days. Since that's the case, let's continue taking it a few more times. How can we make up for 100 days? After finishing these words, it glanced at the damp cave again and continued, "You do have some talent as a demon doctor. Your mind is delicate, not to mention, and your hands are quite flexible. It is also precious in this dirty land. Tell me what reward you want." Upon hearing this, Su Wu suddenly showed an excited expression on his face, with some anticipation but also some fear. After a while, he stuttered and said, "No. I dare not. I dare not ask for the reward from adults." The black cat sneered and said, "Here you go, there's no such nonsense." Su Wu was startled and timely showed his nervousness and unease. With a somewhat flustered expression but not daring to let the black cat wait longer, he stuttered a few words, but none of them were right. Finally, in the midst of panic, he pointed to the clay jar and said, "Big adults. Why don't we reward the little ones with those medicine residues? There are few herbs in the underground karst cave area, especially the most advanced medicinal herbs are smuggled from humans and are extremely precious. However, the medicinal herbs in the mud jar have been boiled for a long time, even if there are residual medicinal properties, they are very weak. Low value, not suitable for great use. Completely incomparable to precious food, or dry firewood and other materials. Requesting medicinal residue will never cause the cat demon to dislike it." Su Wu grasped this degree perfectly. Medicine residue. The black cat frowned. It, with its demonic and suspicious nature, immediately threw the entire herb in the jar into its mouth and chewed it. After carefully feeling it for a while, it found that there was indeed no residue of medicinal properties except for bitterness and difficulty in swallowing. Immediately, it spat out the residue of the medicinal herbs with a foul mouthful, and then said, "It really doesn't have any medicinal properties, so I'll give it to you. Only the stinky bugs in your sewage area will treat these things as treasures. The little monsters in the sewage field have a habit of collecting various residues, including medicinal residues. After all, in such a place, even the feces of the cow demon are collected by the monster, which is excellent fuel." At first it was thinking that if this half-demon really dared to offer conditions, especially food, then it would just kill it directly. Although its cooking skills for medicinal herbs and the controlled temperature are both good, it's just that. Actually, most medicinal herbs can be swallowed directly. It's just that doing so would waste a lot of medicinal properties, which is why the profession of demon doctors has emerged in sewage fields. Of course, facing Su Wu's wit, Black Cat was also very satisfied in his heart. In recent days, human cultivators may come down to sweep, be careful not to die. I'll have to find someone who can make medicine again when the time comes. Alright, Cat, I'm leaving. The damp and dark tunnel made the cat demon somewhat disgusted. After saying these words, her figure flashed and disappeared into a black stream of light. After a long time after confirming that the black cat had really left, Su Wu took a long breath. He originally wanted to rub his slightly stiff face, but the injuries on his hands made him unconsciously take a deep breath. The firewood was brought by the cat demon, and there are still some remnants left. This can also be considered a disguised reward. And the sweeping of human cultivators. Perhaps that guy was injured by a human cultivator. Su Wu's mind was full of thoughts. Talking to oneself is not advisable, things should be thought of in the heart, be careful not to have ears in the wall. With such thoughts, he saw that he first sealed the cave entrance, and then carefully destroyed the bonfire. Although his body was extremely eager for the warmth of the bonfire, it was not yet the coldest weather, and precious dry firewood must not be wasted now. It's just a bit cold, and it won't force hibernation. Just endure it and it will pass. After finishing all of this, I picked up the medicinal residue that the black cat had vomited on the ground, bit by bit, and carefully gathered it in a jar. On the way of tidying up, hunger, pain, fear, as well as the feeling of survival and confusion about future life, are constantly surging like an abyss. At this moment, he only felt his body extremely weak, and a constant sense of dizziness came to his mind. The crevices between the snake scales on his back were filled with fine and dense sweat at some point. Boiling medicinal herbs for the black cat can be said to be a once-in-a-lifetime journey. Even if you don't die, you have to peel off the skin. Ultimately, it's due to insufficient strength. Half-demons have no demon power. However, the success of the past 3 months' efforts depends on this one. Su Wu let out a slight sigh in his heart and focused on the stone bowl in his hand. The next moment, a red mist appeared in my mind, followed by a series of towering tombs. The Yin River of Hell fluctuated in it, and the Immortal Tao Palace disappeared in an instant, adorned with heavenly materials and earth treasures like the 9 heavenly galaxy. Finally, the mist converged into a book, with 3 words engraved on the cover. Tao Te Ching. The way of heaven is to make up for the shortcomings while losing the surplus. A large amount of information suddenly arrived, and rows of data appeared on the cover of the book. Name: Su Wu. Life expectancy: approximately 12 years. Bloodline: half-demon green snake realm. Refining 1 level 10 out of 103 dimensions. Power 1.2, Spirit 2.1, Physical fitness 1.1. Skill: none magic. None array/pill/tool. None concept. Tao Te Ching optional supplements. Strong bone grass residue, black cat saliva. Residues of Zhuanggu grass. Wuxia plus or minus 0.2, Huayu plus or minus 0.5, Xianxia plus or minus 0.4, Zhuanggu plus or minus 0.9, cat demon saliva. Calming plus or minus 0.01, cat transmitted abdominal bacteria plus or minus 0.02. This is the golden finger he traveled through, a Tao Te Ching. The current function of zhaozhuiyuan.com is to reduce certain medicinal properties of animals and plants, and then add them to other medicinal properties, similar to supplementing the heavenly way. He was able to become a demon doctor thanks not only to his ingenuity, but also to the power of his golden fingers. Indeed, there are still medicinal properties that can strengthen tendons and strengthen bones. But even the cat demon saliva has medicinal properties. Do you still carry feline-borne abdominal pathogens? Do the pathogens also belong to the category of medicinal properties? Su Wu was surprised in his heart. his eyes slightly twitched, and he secretly remembered this. The scope of action of the golden finger is wider than he imagined. However, this bit of cat demon saliva is not very effective at the moment. Even if the calming medicinal properties are added to feline-borne pathogens, new pathogens are difficult to harm black cats. Of course, if enough cat demon saliva is collected in the future without further thought, Su Wudong even reduced all the other medicinal properties of Zhuanggu grass and added them all to its medicinal properties. Residue of Zhuanggu grass. Huixue plus or minus 0. Zhuanggu plus or minus 2 forged bone 1.5, as the medicinal properties were changed, the residue of the strong bone herb in front of me changed little by little. Its surface quickly dried up and began to turn grayish-white, eventually turning into segments of bone-like residual root material. Zhuanggu Chao residue mutated Zhuanggu Chao residue quality. Grass level 1 grass level 2 drug properties. Forged bone plus or minus 1.5 mutated Zhuanggu grass. The medicinal properties of Zhuanggu grass are 10 times that of ordinary Zhuanggu grass. Although there are only a few residues left and the total amount of medicinal properties contained is insufficient, the single improvement in medicinal quality still greatly enhances its bone strengthening effect, almost achieving immediate results. It's done. Chapter 2. Golden Finger, Buyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fragment of shaped bone grass. Fragment of mutated bone grass. Surprisingly promoted. Su Wu felt joyful in his heart. This is the first time he has focused all the medicinal effects contained in medicinal herbs on one medicinal property. I thought it would only enhance its medicinal properties, but I didn't expect it to be upgraded directly. Unbelievable. Truly worthy of being a conceptual level Tao Te Ching. Although it has lost some of its medicinal properties, the properties of bone-forging drugs are not comparable to those of bone-strengthening drugs, and the two are completely not on the same level. Su Wu immediately wanted to boil the medicine residue again, but after careful consideration, he finally shook his head and chose to swallow it raw. In theory, continuing to boil the medicinal residue to extract its properties is more likely to be absorbed and maximize its utilization. However, doing so is not safe and wastes precious firewood. The parts of the province need to be provincial, and caution should also be exercised. This is the true way of survival. After the medicine residue entered his abdomen, he also took a small amount of dried meat along the way. After all, in order to make the medicinal properties work better, there needs to be sufficient supply of qi and blood in the body. Unfortunately, there is not much surplus food at home, and I am not willing to eat more. At present, food is more difficult to obtain than dry firewood, and it also requires careful planning. In addition, due to the lack of physical cultivation techniques, Su Wu could only rely on his instincts to exercise his bones, including but not limited to pounding, shaking his tail, pulling his dragon spine, and other methods. Quickly, he felt waves of tingling and warm sensations emerging from deep within his bones, even the blood was running 3 times faster. The scales around the body have also undergone subtle and imperceptible changes. The patterns on some scales gradually increase, and the color of some scales gradually deepens. In addition, there are many gratifying changes such as itching in the muscles and meridians, vibrations in the spinal cord, and so on. The medicinal properties of the mutated strong bone herb are extraordinary, and the effect can be said to be immediate. Enjoy yourself. It truly deserves to be a second-level mutated herb. Feeling the changes around him, Su Wu secretly sighed. However, second-level herbs are far from comparable to ordinary herbs. Even if there is only residue left and the total medicinal properties are insufficient, it will take some time to absorb them if swallowed directly. This matter is not urgent. The road is long, and as you go, you will arrive. Only those who remain calm can glimpse into eternal life. He decided to stay at home without leaving the main entrance, and even the entrance was blocked by several floors. When thirsty, lick the water droplets seeping out of the rocks, and when hungry, eat some dried meat and fruit belly. Rest only 1 hour a day, and use it all for exercise. The difficulty of survival makes him cherish every opportunity to become stronger even more. Although the process is dull and impoverished, it is also more fulfilling and enjoyable. Continuing to cultivate will lead to daily gains. At every moment, he could clearly see that his various attributes were constantly increasing, his bones were constantly strengthening, and his demon body was also strengthening. This pleasure was simply irresistible to the demon. The medicine can't stop, it's over. So, time flies, 5 days later. Bang! Su Wu casually flicked his tail, and the air suddenly emitted a sharp explosion sound. He then reached out to grab the jar that stored the dried meat, only to find that it was already empty, with only a few scattered pieces of dried meat remaining in the other jar. In just a few days, the surplus food at home was almost consumed. After a slight movement of the body, the bones and scales all over the body suddenly made a crackling sound. At this point, the medicinal properties of the residual bone-forging herb have been almost absorbed. Perhaps there are still very weak medicinal residues in the body, but without the coordination of food, continuing to exercise will only lead to death. Everything must be measured, and one should understand the limits. Unfortunately, there are no matching magic spells or other training techniques. We can only rely on basic breathing and self-exercise to cooperate with drug absorption. In addition, due to food scarcity, a lot of medicinal properties have been lost. Su Wu's heart is like a clear mirror. This is also an inevitable thing. Fortunately, although some medicinal properties have been lost, the gains have also been quite substantial. Name: Su Wu. Life expectancy: approximately 12 years. Bloodline: half-demon green snake realm. Alchemy level 40/103 dimensions. Power 1.3, Spirit 2.1, Physical fitness 1.3. Skill: none magic. None array/pill/tool. None concept. Tao Te Ching optional supplementation. None. The realm has been increased by 30 points of experience, and we are further away from the second level of spiritual cultivation. In terms of 3-dimensional attributes, strength and physique have also increased by 0.1 and 0.2 respectively. Don't underestimate the slight increase in 3-dimensional attributes. After all, strength comes from bones, and the marrow nourishes the body's qi and blood. The growth of bones and marrow has led to significant progress in their strength, defense, resistance, endurance, flexibility, and other aspects. Compared to before, the strength has almost increased by about 10%. My own qualifications are not too bad either. It's just that due to the living environment, I haven't been able to get enough food and medicinal herbs rich in medicinal properties, and there are no martial arts or witchcraft around me, so I only have the strength of spiritual cultivation. A penny of grain cannot defeat a hero. Su Wu sighed slightly. In fact, whether it is the improvement of martial arts or the enhancement of realm, it requires sufficient food supplementation. After all, there are too few areas rich in spiritual energy in the underground karst cave area, and most demon tribes rely on their own qi and blood to refine their spirits. Grain production is imperative. The underground caves in Los Angeles are vast and intertwined. There are countless demons, even human sorcerers, villains, and so on who survive here. However, this area can generally be divided into several parts. Sewage land, underground river basin, abandoned mining caves, shallow layers near the city, and deep karst caves. The sewage area is naturally a gathering place for the bottom demon tribe. This is also a polluted and muddy place in Los Angeles, with plagues rampant. At this moment, to the southeast of the sewage field, there is a huge open karst cave. This is a neighborhood in the sewage area, controlled by a strong demon clan during the spirit building period, providing access for all lower-level demon clans. The entry-level fee is half a pound of dried meat or 2 pounds of dry firewood. Su Wu smeared mud all over his body, disguised himself briefly, and came here early to set up a stall. How to trade dry firewood. A toad the size of a wheel stared at Su Wu's stall and asked in a muffled voice. Dry firewood is not traded separately, I only refine herbs on my behalf. Each processing cost is worth 2 pounds of dried meat or equal weight medicinal residue, or 6 pounds of high-quality dry firewood. Su Wu didn't lift his head either, pressing down on the stone with his tongue and deliberately hoarsely speaking. Refining medicinal herbs on behalf of others. Are you a demon doctor? The big toad's expression seemed somewhat surprised, and after a slight turn of his eyes, he cunningly said, Do you also provide the firewood and water used, as well as the jar for boiling medicinal herbs, for free? Su Wu then lifted his head and glanced at the big toad before sneering, You're thinking nonsense. You can provide a medicine jar, and you can buy water and firewood yourself. Of course, I also have firewood here. 1 pound of jerky meat is worth 4 pounds of dry firewood. They are all of the best dry firewood, you can compare them, they are definitely cheaper than those on the market. 4 for 1. The big toad's eyeballs continued to dribble and spin, saying, Can we just buy dry firewood? The weather this year has been somewhat abnormal, with an exceptionally long and even colder winter. Underground karst caves are even more severely affected areas, and temperatures are getting worse and worse. The big toad has been wandering in the local market for a long time, but the purchased dried firewood is still not enough for a whole family to use. The dried firewood at most stalls is either of poor quality or at exorbitant exchange prices. Although there aren't many dry firewood on this half-demon stall right now, it's definitely a fair price. Su Wu was too lazy to bother with this guy and lowered his head again. And the toad demon, who was trying to please himself, could only curse in secret and jump away. This demon clan market is still quite bustling, with nearly 100 stalls selling blood and food, dried firewood, medicinal herbs, and even meat. You can find a complete variety of books at www.zhaozuiyuan.com. Goods are traded and exchanged at every moment. Su Wu's booth also attracts many demon tribes, but most of them come to inquire about dry firewood. As for boiling medicinal herbs, although there are also inquiries, they are all hesitant in the face of high prices. No matter what world you are in, seeking medical treatment at the bottom is always a daunting task. As the market approached the end of trading, Su Wu still had not opened a single order. He was a bit hungry and panicked, but he couldn't bear to exchange the dry firewood in his hand for food. He just poured a lot of mud and water into his stomach, and then looked at his tail and began to imagine. Barbecue, braised pork, steamed, or not wearing skewers. The ponytail suddenly felt a chill. Shentamo wears a string. Bad luck. Collect blood, collect blood. The Night Palace collects blood, and 1 pound of fresh demon blood can give 10 pounds of jerky meat. Hurry up, we won't wait until it's too late. Some insects, only the size of palms and resembling trumpet flowers, suddenly roamed around the neighborhood, constantly shouting. This is a type of insect demon called the trumpet bug. Some major powers will specialize in breeding these demon insects for themselves to transmit messages. Selling blood. Why did the Night Palace suddenly collect blood? Su Wu frowned and felt a little uneasy in his heart. In his memory, the power of the sewage land has only collected demon blood on such a large scale twice. Once, it was due to the mutual conflict between human cultivators and sects on the ground, which affected the underground cave area of Los Angeles. Several large demons in the demon elixir realm had to use the blood of 10,000 demons to build a defensive formation. Another time is when a strange and evil creature is born, requiring the blood sacrifice of living beings to seek peace. But this time, what will it be? Chapter 3. Selling blood for grain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. P.S. Could you please help me save it? Thank you. The Night Palace is a major force in underground karst caves. The race of the Palace Lord is unknown, and it is said to be a large demon in the demon elixir realm, claiming to be the night-wandering god. Its ruling area covers 1/3 of the underground karst caves, and the current sewage land is under its protection. Faced with the sudden blood collection behavior in the Night Palace, Su Wu was cautious and did not take immediate action. He just restrained his stall and mixed in with the bustling demon group, secretly collecting relevant information. Know yourself and your enemy, be cautious from the heart. Why is the Night Palace collecting fresh demon blood? Has there been another strange demon born? I don't think so. If that's the case, the Night Palace would have forcibly confiscated demon blood long ago, and I still want to exchange it for you for a fee. What the hell do you want? Perhaps the human cultivator has attacked again. This is even more impossible. Small-scale sweeps by human cultivators have occurred here from time to time, but large-scale entry into underground caves for clearing has not happened for many years. This is not it, that is not it, and what else can be the reason? Is it possible that the night god wants to go to war with humans? Even if its mother runs away with humans, she wouldn't be so heartless and crazy, would she? Wrong, you are all wrong. It is said that a new mine has been discovered, and the Night Palace is preparing to use 10,000 demon blood to establish a defense formation there. Wait, it is estimated that a large-scale recruitment and mining will be carried out soon. A new mine. Upon hearing this, Su Wu's eyebrows furrowed slightly, but he still felt a bit skeptical in his heart. The underground karst caves are deep and vast, and it is indeed possible to discover new mining caves, especially in abandoned mining cave areas, where new mining sites are occasionally discovered. Once a new mining site is discovered, if it is of a large scale, powerful forces like Night Palace will establish defensive formations here, and the 10,000 demons blood formation is the most cost-effective option. Although that was the case, he also remembered what Black Cat had said a few days ago. Recently, humans may come here to clean up. In addition, Black Cat was injured seriously for some reason, so he remained skeptical about the new mine's rhetoric. However, it doesn't matter if it's just selling blood. This seems like an opportunity, if done properly. Countless thoughts flowed through Su Wu's mind, and suddenly he had an idea. However, he carefully pondered for a long time, confirmed the feasibility and no risk, and then left the demon group and swam towards the stalls selling herbs. It didn't take long to find the target. How do we sell blood mushrooms? Su Wu pointed to a blood-red plant the size of a human head, similar to a mushroom, and asked. The vendor on the opposite side is a fox demon, about 1.2 meters tall, with a pair of pointed red fox ears, a furry fox tail, and a pair of agile fox claws like human hands. The rest of the body is covered in mud, but the appearance is not clear. Exchange 1 for 5, exchange 1 blood mushroom for 5 pounds of jerky meat. The fox girl glanced at Su Wu and said indifferently. It's a bit expensive. Blood mushrooms can't even be considered herbs. Su Wu's eyebrows furrowed slightly, and his voice remained hoarse and unpleasant to hear. Blood mushroom is a plant that can grow in underground caves and is occasionally seen in abandoned mining areas. It has extremely weak hematopoietic effects, but also contains strong blood toxins. Generally speaking, if one's own blood gas is severely depleted, some lower-level demon tribes will take risks and choose to consume some blood mushrooms, or occasionally use them to assist hunting. Is it expensive? That's right. The fox girl sneered and continued, don't even look at the current market situation. The Night Palace is collecting blood, and the prices of these nourishing bone marrow and hematopoietic herbs will inevitably be even more expensive afterwards. If you don't buy it now, it won't be at this price tomorrow. Besides, can you afford advanced herbs? Even if you dare to buy them, I dare not sell them. Upon hearing this, Su Wu remained silent for a moment before continuing to ask, can we first take a look at the quality? Sure, but hurry up, I'll also be thinking of selling later. The fox girl said lightly. She was clever in her mind and could tell at a glance what the half-snake demon in front of her was doing. Attention. She probably wanted to sell blood, but was afraid of losing money after selling blood, so she bought a blood mushroom just in case. So he took advantage of this opportunity and the lion spoke up, killing one by one. Selling. What are you selling? I hope you're talking about selling blood. Suwu's expression under the mud was somewhat strange. He bent down and picked up a blood mushroom, pretending to observe. In fact, he was checking the information in the Tao Te Ching. Blood mushroom quality. Grass level 0, demonic. Blood poison plus or minus 2, nourishing blood plus or minus 0.5, although it is a grade 0 herb, due to its integrity, the total medicinal properties are as high as 2.5. It has a slight blood nourishing effect, but with a high blood toxicity of up to 2, the blood mushroom has completely turned into a chicken rib. Eating without taste is a pity. To abandon this is also the reason why he did not have the idea of blood mushrooms before. After all, it's just a level 0 herb, even if it has the replenishing medicinal ability of the golden finger, it's not very useful. After all, if you want to nourish your qi and blood, you can also directly consume dried meat. Although the effect is slower, it is extremely cost-effective and can also fill your stomach. But now, while the Night Palace was collecting blood, he could take advantage of it. After adjusting and supplementing the medicinal properties of blood mushrooms, as long as the time interval for selling blood is well controlled, it is no problem for a blood mushroom to support it in selling blood 2 to 3 times. Except for a bit of injury, it's safe to make a profit without losing. Since the large-scale blood collection in the Night Palace will not end in the short term. Can you exchange 4 pounds of high-quality dried firewood for 1 blood mushroom? Su Wu picked a super poisonous mushroom with a medicinal properties of 2.9 and pushed down the price accordingly. The fox girl's asking price is somewhat outrageous, and on ordinary days, blood mushrooms are only worth about 3 pounds of dried meat. After all, this thing is a real chicken rib, it's just a poisonous mushroom that doesn't seem to work. Deal. The fox girl squinted her eyes, took the dry firewood and weighed it a few times before eagerly stuffing the blood mushroom onto Su Wu's body, then quickly rolled up the stall and left. That look seems to be afraid that the latter will back out. Before leaving, he quietly muttered, "Pick the most poisonous mushroom, this is just a big idiot." Su Wu. Wipe. TMD and scrupulous businessmen, still giving too much. I cursed inwardly, feeling like I lost $1 billion. After selling the blood, his face turned pale under the mud. Su Wu turned left and right all the way, drilling east and west, circling around for a long time, and even had a few layers of mud on his body. It took him over an hour before he quietly returned home. He has been doing this for the past 3 months. Be careful in everything and there will always be no major mistakes. He carefully re-sealed the entrance of the tunnel and put 10 pounds of dried meat obtained from selling blood into the jar. As he watched the originally empty jar gradually fill up, he finally took a deep breath of satisfaction. There is surplus food at home, and one's heart is not anxious. A pound of blood almost drained me. Su Wu rubbed off the dried sludge on his face and searched for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, muttering to himself that his already green face had turned 3 points green. Blood damage and kidney deficiency. The Grand Traveler, however, has fallen to the point of selling blood for food, and it is estimated that he is the only family in the world. What a miserable word. No, we need to make up for it quickly. He picked up the blood mushroom and immediately activated his golden finger. Blood mushroom quality. Grass level 0 drug properties, blood toxin 2.7, nourishing blood 0.2 medicinal supplement. Drug properties. Blood toxicity plus or minus 0, nourishing blood 2.5, nourishing marrow 2 quality. Grass level 0 blood mushroom, marrow mushroom. A unique mushroom that contains almost no toxins and strongly nourishes the bone marrow, producing new blood. Blood marrow. Unexpected joy. Can we still play like this? Su Wu was slightly taken aback, and then his heart was filled with joy. After this medicinal supplement, although the grade of the medicinal herbs did not improve, their medicinal properties underwent a complete change, and nourishing blood became nourishing marrow. Although there is only a one-word difference, when reflected on the body, it is vastly different. You should know that bones and marrow are the foundation and origin of the body. The difference between nourishing blood and marrow is equivalent to one being a temporary buff that disappears immediately after use, while the other is a permanent increase in basic attributes. The basic upper limit has been raised, and the total amount of qi and blood will also increase. What is the loss of qi and blood worth? How can he not be happy about it? Isn't this tempting me to continue selling blood? Good, good, good. They sell sperm and I sell blood, even the contemporary demon world cowherd. Chapter 4. The Furious Mushroom Medicine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. P.S. Thank you to Fenghua, Maoying, Xia Chu Chiu Lai and other friends for their tipping votes. Thank you all for still supporting Luoli. Blood mushrooms, marrow mushrooms. Both are 0-level herbs, but their values are vastly different. As far as Su Wu knew, there was indeed an extremely rare variety of blood mushrooms, which greatly weakened its toxicity but doubled its blood-nourishing effect, known as red mushrooms. However, the efficacy of red mushrooms is far inferior to that of shiitake mushrooms. Let's skip these for now. Still afraid to decoct medicine, he swallowed the whole shiitake mushroom in his stomach. There are many monsters in the sewage field with a keen sense of smell, including black cats, which must be guarded against. A little negligence may lead to death in the underworld. Without the combination of witchcraft and martial arts, Su Wu still practiced according to the previous method. This time, he completely underestimated the medicinal properties of the shiitake mushroom. The medicinal properties of this thing are very domineering and intense, unlike the mild and gradual effects of strong bone grass. The ferocity of the medicine is like a burst flood, spreading wildly and rushing into the bones. Hiss. Even if Su Wudong shuddered. Without hesitation, quickly start exercising. Shake the tail, whip the tail, pull the spine and snake bones, and use the scales of the whole body to push against hard rocks. He will try any exercise that can enhance himself with medication, even if it is extreme. Just as the exercise continues, it's like countless tiny insects gnawing on the bones, and the itching also doubles. One day later, when the medicinal properties of the shiitake mushrooms reached their peak, the unbearable itching and pain suddenly added to the bone-splitting pain. Ants devour their hearts and take turns to fight. The demon's body began to spasm, causing its facial features to twist in pain. Its exercise movements had also become distorted, and even its instinctive breathing had been completely disrupted. Pain and pain. Itchy and itchy. Su Wu gritted his teeth and never gave up. There are no ravines in front of a galloping horse, but obstacles in front of a coward. He can be cautious and timid in the outside world, and even follow his heart everywhere, which is not wrong, after all, it is all for survival. But he never allows himself to be cowardly, it's a sign of incompetence. Be ruthless enough towards yourself. Practice to death if you can't die, and never miss any opportunity to become stronger. This damn world, the weak can only become a world of blood food, and he will never agree to become a blood food in the future due to insufficient strength. I have been a lowly commoner for a lifetime in my past life, and I have finally reopened my life. How dare I continue to accept my fate? Impossible. Su Wu continued to torment himself in pain. If your hand is broken and unable to move, then shake your tail. If you have no sensation at the end, then hit the rock with your shoulders and carry a large stone on your back. When all methods are not working, he will also desperately grind the scales around his body on the rock, even if it can only increase his defense slightly, but it is enough. The extreme pain prevented him from falling asleep, so he decided not to rest. Never sleep or rest, exercise hard. There are still 10 pounds of dried meat at home, which is enough to support him in completing this round of exercise, and the utilization rate of shiitake mushrooms has also been maximized. At every moment, in the extreme pain, he can feel himself becoming stronger. That's enough. The domineering medicinal properties of the shiitake mushroom lasted for more than 30 hours. As the third day approached its end, its medicinal properties began to weaken. As the saying goes, what comes and goes is fast. When the last trace of medicinal properties penetrated deep into the bone marrow, the extreme pain receded like a tide. Just a moment later, a feeling of relief that was ingrained in the bones suddenly spread throughout the body. Survived. Su Wu collapsed to the ground, staring blankly at the rock wall above, without saying a word. At this moment, he was as if he had just been pulled out of the mud, soaking wet and covered in rock powder and soil. At the same time, his expression was extremely tired, but his eyes were particularly bright and vibrant. The medicinal properties of shiitake mushrooms are very strong, and their nourishing effect is beyond imagination. Even for now, his bone marrow is still slightly feverish, and he can clearly feel waves of vigorous qi and blood constantly emerging from it. These newly born qi and blood flow freely in the demon body, benefiting the muscles, bones, blood and flesh, 5 internal organs, and other components. The increase in the upper limit of qi and blood, in turn, drives an increase in the overall strength of the body. At the most important moment, it seems that the spirit has also been slightly transparent. Ling Tai is even more clear and clear, with a more resilient consciousness. After a while, Su Wu, who had recovered his energy, finally focused on the Tao Te Ching in the sea of consciousness and began to observe his own attributes. Sure enough, both the realm and 3-dimensional attributes have been enhanced. Realm. Alchemy level 80/103 dimensions. Strength 1.5, Spirit 2.2, Physical fitness. 1.6. The realm experience has directly doubled, just one step away from the second level of spiritual cultivation. And the gains in 3D are equally gratifying, with increases of 0.2, 0.1, and 0.3 respectively. Leaving aside the spirit, the other two attributes have almost increased by about 1/6. Especially the improvement of physical fitness is particularly significant. This is mainly due to the strengthening of the bone marrow, which leads to an increase in the upper limit of qi and blood. After all, the marrow is connected to the blood, and sufficient qi and blood can nourish and enhance the body's defense, attack power, internal organs, bones and tendons, and so on. I still need 20 points of experience to reach the second level of spiritual cultivation. At that time, as the realm leaps, the demon body will also be further strengthened under the influence of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and the creation of life. And I'm still a snake demon, maybe there's a chance for me to molt. Su Wu's heart was uplifted and his thoughts were wandering. Based on some knowledge in my mind, the realm of the demon race is currently divided into refining spirit, building spirit, and the higher realm of the demon pill, the latter commonly known as the Great Demon. Coincidentally corresponding to the cultivation of qi, foundation building, and golden elixir realm of human cultivators. The latter two realms, let alone the realm of alchemy, are divided into 1 to 9 levels. Mainly through devouring blood, food, medicinal herbs, and other methods, coupled with persistent exercise, to achieve enhancement in areas such as refining skin, bone, blood, nourishing marrow, strengthening organs, and invigorating the mind. So as to refine and enter the body, continuously develop oneself, and tap into the potential of the demon body. Finally, polish one's demonic body to the extreme. So every demon is very edible, which also gives it a bloodthirsty demonic nature. As for starting with refining the skin and enhancing it, there are no specific requirements, such as searching for books at www.zhaozhuyuan.com or starting with refining the essence. The main reason is that most of the lower-level demon tribes do not have martial arts or witchcraft, and all act based on instinct. Due to resource scarcity, there are very few demon clans in underground karst caves, especially in the sewage area, with a level of 7 or more spirit refining. In addition, with severe internal conflicts and constant human raids from the outside, it is difficult to grow up smoothly. But he's not in a hurry either. The road needs to be walked step by step, and only by being down to earth can one walk steadily. Su Wu's current goal is to promote to the second level of spiritual cultivation. As for where to start, after careful consideration, he still thinks it is more appropriate to start from the bone marrow. There are two reasons. On the one hand, bones and marrow are the true foundation of the body, and enhancing both can drive the increase of three-dimensional attributes throughout the body, achieving twice the result with half the effort. Currently the Night Palace is collecting blood on a large scale, and he can profit from this process by selling demon blood, purchasing blood mushrooms, nourishing bone marrow, generating qi and blood, increasing blood limit, and selling demon blood. Perfect cycle. As long as one is careful not to harm the fundamental aspects of the body, relying on the powerful ability of the golden finger to change the properties of the medicine, he can perfectly parasitize in this cycle and quietly become stronger. Even if the process is painful, it doesn't matter. Becoming stronger is the truth. But don't worry for now, let's stabilize for a few days and see the situation before we talk. And the cat demon is probably coming soon. I don't know what kind of herbs it will bring this time. Su Wu secretly thought to himself. Under caution, he decided to dismiss the cat demon first before proceeding with his own plan. It has been a week now, and theoretically, the black cat is also coming soon. Chapter 5 Strange Drug Properties. Bitter Evil. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time flies silently. It's another 3 days. The city of Los Angeles is cooling down, approaching a bitter cold month. It's snowing heavily in its 30s, reaching a distance of 4 feet. It's over 1,000 miles north and south, and the frost is pouring down during the day. The icy cold air surged deeper underground. In fact, for most of the demon tribes in underground caves, they don't know what snow and warm sun are. I only know that when something called snow falls in the local area, the most painful and agonizing days will also come. At present, the price of dry firewood is starting to rise, and the price of dried meat is also rising. But the cat demon has never appeared. On the third day, Su Wu realized that his qi and blood were already full, so he disguised himself and went to the local market to sell blood. When leaving, one is cautious, but when returning, one's face turns pale and worried. The Night God Palace is still purchasing unlimited amounts of demon blood without any signs of stopping. If we were just building the 10,000 demons blood formation, we wouldn't be able to use such a large quantity. Perhaps there is really a strange birth of demons. But if that's the case, theoretically the Night Temple should forcibly confiscate demon blood. When would it be so merciful to purchase it with meat? There's a problem, definitely a big problem. People who do not understand reason will inevitably suffer, but when things go wrong, there will always be demons. Not only Su Wu, but also other demon tribes in the sewage field began to feel uneasy. Don't rush, wait another 3 days. If the cat demon still doesn't appear, then I'll move on to a different place and elevate my realm to the second level of spiritual cultivation first. Su Wu glanced at his own realm experience. Realm. Alchemy level 90 out of 100. Due to the residual medicinal power in his body, these 3 days of mild exercise have still increased his level by 10 points of experience. The limit is approaching the edge of promotion. According to the current progress, perhaps it will take another 7 or 8 days for him to break through the shackles smoothly. After being promoted to the second level of spiritual cultivation, one's own safety will also be unprecedentedly improved. So, another 2 days passed. The fluorescent moss in the underground cave lights up on time, absorbing nutrients from the rocks and illuminating the entire underground world once again, heralding a new day. The cat demon finally stepped on the fluorescence, and Xianxia came. Still breaking through the door, and even its pervasive demonic aura becoming even more brutal. I don't know if it's an illusion, but after seeing the cat demon again, Su Wu felt a hint of madness and distortion in the depths of its eyes. It seems as if the demonic nature has lost control. Master Cat. You're here. Su Wu still maintained his humble demeanor as before, carefully standing beside the cat demon, his breathing becoming lighter by 3 points. Even though he had strengthened twice and his strength was close to the dual level of spiritual cultivation, he still felt cold and shivering in the face of this capricious cat demon. This product is definitely above the 3rd level of spiritual refinement. This is a new medicine. Cough. I'll cook it for me immediately. The cat demon's words fell, and a medicinal plant resembling fluorescent moss appeared in its claws. Space equipment. Or is it storage capacity? Does this guy seem to be more seriously injured? Su Wu didn't dare to think too much and tried to calm his mind. Then he respectfully took the medicinal herb and quietly looked at it with a corner of his eye. This medicinal material is exactly the same as the fluorescent moss, but its color is monster blood red. Although it is only a small piece the size of a palm, it is as heavy as 1,000 pounds. What's even more strange is that when held in hand, the roots of this thing started to move slightly, as if wanting to pierce through the palm and root on the flesh and blood. Ground meat quality. Fanchao level 3 drug properties. Bloodthirsty ±3, Cuxi ±10, hammerbone ±3, pregnant marrow ±2. Explanation. This is a very peculiar herb, please be careful of some of its medicinal properties. Ground meat. 3rd order herbs with a total medicinal properties of up to 18. What a terrifying medicinal herb, it's almost 3 times stronger than the previous strong bone herb. Su Wu was extremely shocked in his heart. If he remembers correctly, the total medicinal properties of that first order strong bone herb were only over 6 points, but now this ground meat plant has a total of 18 points. But what surprised him the most was that the Tao Te Ching specifically noted that this was a treatment that neither Zhuanggu grass nor blood mushroom had before. Is it because of the medicinal properties of bitter evil? What exactly is this? Su Wu dared not hesitate and immediately got busy after taking the medicinal herbs. This time, the cat demon did not carry dry firewood and clean water, and it was obvious that he was preparing to go for free. But he showed no signs of dissatisfaction, and even tried his best to restrain his thoughts. He just took out his stored water and dry firewood, lit a fire, and quickly boiled it. The cat demon is powerful and good at observing words and expressions. At this time, it's best not to think about anything. Be cautious again. At the same time, watching Su Wu keep busy, a black light flashed through the dark green pupils of the black cat, and then it was seen lying on the ground, half squinting and dozing off, with only slightly thickened breathing. The ground meat is a bit difficult to cook. When it was just boiled in a clay pot, this thing still emitted a slight red light, and the densely packed hair roots beneath it trembled violently, making waves of noise like a baby crying. Under this kind of noise, Su Wu only felt the flow of qi and blood, his spiritual sense vibrated, and his forehead was immediately covered in dense sweat. It's just a medicinal herb, you've turned the tables. Even if Su Wudong added a few more pieces of dry firewood, he directly increased his firepower. Sure enough, the ground meat quickly stopped struggling, and the medicinal juice began to turn slightly red, with black air like worms densely covering it. I don't know if it's an illusion, but at the moment when the black aura appeared, he always felt like there was a whispering sound coming from his ear. The sound seemed extremely distant, but it seemed to be nearby. Not only that, but it also felt like something was watching me in the dark, and at the same time, waves of bitter and painful emotions surged in my heart. Damn it, this thing is really weird. Su Wu's heart secretly became cold. He shook his head vigorously, trying to hold his breath. Don't worry if doing this is useful, at least there is psychological comfort. So, after 3/4 of an hour. Gradually, the medicinal soup no longer changed color, but completely turned into a bowl of fresh blood. And the black gas also lost its trace, and the abnormality disappeared with it. After consulting the cat demon who had closed his eyes to rest, Su Wu glanced at the medicinal soup and then picked up the hot clay jar. He stood aside and waited for the latter to take it. Drug properties. Bloodthirsty +or-1, Cuxy +or-12, Hammerbone +or-4, Pregnant marrow +or-1. Don't say I didn't take care of you, cat demon. Find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and Hammerbone has already added 1 to you. Adding 2 to Cuxy is not excessive, after all, this thing is not a good thing at first glance. The medicine cannot be stopped, you must have more and more benefits. This time, after taking it, the cat demon closed its eyes and remained silent for a long time. When Su Wu's tail was tingling, it slowly opened its eyes and a strange bitterness appeared on the cat's face. The pupils of both eyes undergo a crazy transformation between circular and crescent shapes. I was panting heavily for a while before finally calming down. Not bad, the medicine is still very strong this time. The black cat's voice was slightly hoarse, and its tail behind it began to shake. At this moment, its mood was actually quite good. Just as it continued, your demon doctor's talent is indeed very good, and your spirit is quite strong. You can even successfully boil the ground meat into a medicinal soup. I thought you would die like other trash. This guy really doesn't have a good heart. Su Wu suddenly showed a look of fear, with a look of sincerity and trepidation, stuttering for a while without knowing what to say. In the end, even to show loyalty, he handed the cat demon the small amount of clean water in his home. Little. I don't know what's going on. At that time, there was a thought in my mind that I couldn't delay adults' medication, so I cooked the medicinal herbs in a daze. However, it's still adult strength. Smelling the small medicinal herbs is so bitter, and I feel bitter in my heart, but you can finish it without changing your face. It's just that there's still some water left here, sir. Please rinse your mouth first. Revenge doesn't come overnight, I really have to kill you. Cat-transmitted abdominal virus, bring it to you. Chapter 6. Promotion of Spiritual Refining Level 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not bad, you have a heart. The cat demon took a small jar of water and his gaze towards Su Wu softened slightly. The medicinal properties of ground meat are indeed very bitter. Especially today's medicinal effects, the bitterness contained in them is even more deeply ingrained in the heart. However, this also indirectly proves the demon doctor talent of the little green snake in front of us. The method of cooking medicinal herbs and the controlled temperature are both very good, which allows the medicinal effects to be fully exerted. The black cat originally intended to spit out its mouthwash directly on the ground, but after thinking about it, it still vomited into another slightly smaller clay jar. The underground cave world, dry firewood, clean water, and sufficient dried meat are all essential survival supplies. Although clear water is not as expensive as firewood, it is quite difficult to collect and is equally rare for the lower-level demons. Most of the lower-level demon tribes drink mud and water directly. Since that's the case, it will mercifully leave the mouthwash behind. I think the little green snake in front of me would also mind these things, and may even be grateful. Use its clear water and make it thank itself. The power of the underground world is the truth. Black Cat felt slightly proud in his heart and glanced at Su Wu at the same time. Sure enough, the latter was momentarily stunned and then showed an excited expression, perhaps not expecting the black cat adult to be so merciful. Not only that, the goods immediately picked up the jar, took a small sip, and then showed a very satisfied and unabashed appearance. Okay. So sensible, isn't it? If I don't kill you, I'm sorry for being so unreasonable. I was originally planning to collect the soil on the ground afterwards. Su Wu's excitement was evident in his words, so he decided not to conceal it this time. The little green snake in the underground world is so brave. The black cat is a few years old, not afraid at all. You see how happy I am, why didn't the goods hit me? Let's talk about it, what reward do you want this time? The black cat looked at Su Wu with increasing satisfaction, and even had the intention of giving him some rewards this time. I dare not, it's all up to adults to make decisions. Su Wu remained respectful and obedient. Upon hearing this, the black cat looked at the colorless ground meat in the clay jar and confirmed that it had no medicinal properties. Then it said, I'll give you the medicinal residue of this ground meat. But this time I used your firewood and water, since that's the case. It suddenly paused for a moment, glanced at Su Wu's arm, and saw a fresh wound on it. It frowned slightly and said, You went to sell blood once these few days. Yes. Little family doesn't have much surplus food, so. Su Wu stuttered as he explained. In fact, he sold blood twice, but this guy played a trick by cutting his wrist at the same location twice to prevent the black cat from discovering that he had sold blood twice through the details of the wound. Selling 2 pounds of blood in a short period of time, and he is still so lively, it's too easy to get into trouble. After all, there is no mud covering the whole body at home. Don't go in the future. If you lack qi and blood, I will have to find other ways to refine medicine. The black cat still made a hoarse voice. After the words fell, it pondered for a while, then reached out its paw and grabbed it in the void. A black token appeared and was thrown to Su Wu, continuing. This is Laozi's token. 3 days later, the Night God Palace will recruit mining demons in the sewage area to mine at a new mining site. Take the token and go there to claim a position. 2 weeks later, I will come back to you to boil medicine. Come in a hurry, go in a hurry. The black cat did not stop any longer. After it had walked away, Su Wu picked up the token in his hand and carefully observed it. On the front of the token, there are 2 characters engraved in seal. Black Xian. On the back, there is a line of small characters written. History of Mine Patrol Demons. Cat Demon Black Xian. A history of mining demons. Did the Night God Palace actually discover a new mine? Is it true that before the difficulty, I was overthinking? Acquiring demon blood is really for the 10,000 demon blood formation. Su Wu frowned slightly, but his heart became even more uneasy. The situation was even more unexpected. This is not a good thing. In fact, under caution, he is not willing to join in such a lively atmosphere. After all, compared to seeking a position in a new mine, he is more willing to secretly sell blood and quietly enhance himself, which is the safest. But he cannot, nor dare he refuse Black Xian's arrangement. As for running away, I dare not even think about it. The habitable area of underground karst caves is so large that without the protection of large forces, unfamiliar areas are even more dangerous. Unless absolutely necessary, he would never choose to live alone without sewage. We must be promoted to the 2nd level of spiritual cultivation as soon as possible. In this way, even in the face of potential dangers in the new mine, it adds a bit of self-protection. Thinking of this, Su Wu became busy again. He first sealed the cave entrance with stones again, then extinguished the bonfire, and finally checked the harvest. Cat Demon mouthwash and boiled ground meat. Ground meat, quality, grass level 3, drug properties. Bloodthirsty plus or minus 0.2, Cuxy plus or minus 2, Hammerbone plus or minus 0.3, Pregnant marrow plus or minus 0.2, Cat Demon mouthwash, quality. Level 0, drug properties. Bitter pathogens entering the body plus or minus 0.4, feline transmitted abdominal pathogens plus or minus 0.7, and calming nerves plus or minus 0.3 is bitter evil entering the body. There is indeed a big problem with the ground meat. The bitter and evil medicinal properties seem to be able to erode demon bodies. Su Wu pondered as he began to change and continue to change the properties of the medicine. In the end, the medicinal properties of the ground meat became pregnant marrow plus or minus 2.7, while the changes in the cat demon's saliva were even more interesting. Drug properties. Bitter pathogenic bacteria plus or minus 1.4 quality. Fan Chao level 2, cat demon mouthwash. Bitter evil bacteria. With the change in medicinal properties, countless black threads suddenly appeared in the originally clear mouthwash. These black threads intertwine and aggregate with each other, gradually forming a shape resembling an eye. I don't know if it was a psychological effect, but Su Wu felt that the black eye in the water seemed to be staring at him. But soon this feeling disappeared, and the black eye also dispersed again, turning into a thread and disappearing into the water. It seems like a more eerie thing has been made. Su Wu suddenly felt a chill in his spine. Cautiously, he chose to seal the mouth of the mud jar with mud and carefully placed it in a safer corner. Next time Black Xian cooks medicine, he will find a way to add this feast to it. The next step is to take the modified medicinal meat. Although the remaining total medicinal properties of this herb are only 2.7, its essence is very superior. Especially the effects of hammerbone and pregnancy marrow are far from comparable to those of herbs such as bone-strengthening herbs. However, since I have made up my mind to start exorcising the demon body from nourishing the marrow, I can only temporarily endure the pain and abandon the hammer-bone effect. Concentrate some effort in order to achieve twice the result with half the effort. So, one day later. Su Wu had just finished a round of exercise when he suddenly felt a tingling sensation coming from the end of his tail. This sensation began to flow upstream and spread all over his body. The bones and marrow of the entire body seemed to be trembling slightly. I can't say what kind of feeling it was, I can only say it was painful and happy. About 15 minutes later. Boom! There seemed to be a roar in my ear, and suddenly my heart and mind opened up. At this moment, he felt the pores, scales, and internal organs of the demon's body breathing vigorously, as if the thin spiritual energy in the cave was slowly being incorporated into his body. Next second. A powerful life energy erupts from the depths of the bone marrow, transforming into an imperceptible river of qi and blood that flows like a river. Then, following the instinctive breath, it rushes between the muscles and organs in the body. Blood and spirit blend together, spirit intersects with God, and sky thunder stirs up earth fire. At this moment, the door of the shackles that restrict the promotion of the demon body suddenly opens. Double cultivation, achieved. Chapter 7. Magical Small Pill Soup. You are listening at novelfull.audio. P.S. Please help me read and save it, thank you. Realm. Refining double 8/103 dimensions. Power 2.5, Spirit 3.2, Physical Fitness. 2.6 After the realm was elevated, each of the three attributes increased slightly, and the changes reflected in the demon body were even more earth-shattering. Defense, flexibility, resilience, 5-organ training, maximum qi and blood, bone strength, and more have all been comprehensively improved, and overall strength has more than doubled. However, the medicinal properties of the earth meat have not been fully consumed, and it is still silently nourishing Su Wu's bone marrow, which also indicates that his spiritual realm will continue to maintain a rapidly advancing posture. Not bad, I feel much more at ease now. Su Wu was very satisfied in his heart. Although the realm is not high, it can still be considered detached from the lowest ranks. After all, as the residents of the lower-level demon tribe, the sewage land is extremely scarce in resources, and it is a luxury to fill one's stomach. Therefore, how can there be extra food to boil the demon body and cultivate spiritual cultivation? It's good to be alive, no one dares to expect anything else. The local market remains bustling, more prosperous than before. Perhaps it is due to the continuous blood collection in the night palace these days that all the demon clans who came here turned pale, walked crookedly, and looked like they were suffering from kidney deficiency. However, it also gave most demon tribes some idle food on hand. The local market is therefore even more lively. Selling medicine. Red small pill soup is the best choice to make up for the deficiency of qi and blood. 1 pound of jerky meat comes in 1 bowl. You can't buy it at a loss, you can't fall for it, buy it and you'll make a profit. A few hornworms were standing next to a stall, shouting and selling wildly. This is the first time in this neighborhood that a stall has used a trumpet demon like this. This peculiar scene immediately attracted many monsters to stop here. What is it called? Red pill soup. Can it compensate for qi and blood? Zun du fa du isn't the trumpet bug used by major powers to notify messages. How could it still be used like this? The demons whispered in unison, their hearts becoming increasingly curious. However, most of them remained skeptical about this inexplicable decoction, and for a moment, no demons came forward to purchase it. After all, 1 pound of meat and 1 bowl of soup are not cheap either. Quack. Can this Lashizi small pill soup really compensate for qi and blood? I think it's just blood mushroom soup. A big toad demon suddenly squeezed in from the crowd of monsters, clamoring and looking like a fierce god and bully. Looking at the stall again, Su Wuzheng confidently stirred up the medicinal juice in the mud jar. He first glanced at the big toad, and then said calmly. It is indeed a medicinal juice mainly made of blood mushrooms. However, this medicine was first simmered over low heat for a day, then subjected to a fierce attack of martial fire for 3/4 of an hour. In addition, some secret decoction techniques, as well as some other medicinal herbs and seasonings, greatly weakened the toxicity of blood mushrooms, which formed the precious pots of soup and medicine in front of us. It was quite difficult to obtain. Besides, I am a demon doctor, how could I deceive everyone? Demon doctor. This is a relatively rare profession in sewage fields. Especially the emphasis on gentle and martial arts, which appears refined, instantly reduces the skeptical mentality of the demons by more than 3 points. However, the big toad demon still seemed to disapprove. His eyes rolled slowly, and then he threw a stone bowl in front of the stall with a clang, saying, I really don't believe it. It's like 1 pound of meat and 1 bowl of medicinal soup. Fill it up and I'll try the effect for everyone first. Looking at a stone bowl that is twice the size of an ordinary meat storage can. The demon said, Are you special? Is that a bowl? The pot would burst into tears upon seeing it. I can't use your bowl, I have to use this pot. Su Wu picked up a pot from the stall that was 3 parts smaller than an ordinary stone bowl, filled it with medicinal juice, and continued, originally, it was 1 pound of meat and 1 pot of soup and medicine, not on credit. However, in order to show everyone the effect and also prove that the medicinal soup of this demon doctor is honest, I can let you drink it first. Speak up and push the pot soup in front of the big toad. The demon said, Boy, a bowl is bigger than a pot. The other one is even more ruthless, guess what? The pot is even smaller than the bowl. Is this the empathy in the legend of the human world? However, despite this, they became even more curious about whether the medicinal soup was effective. I really don't believe it. What effect can this medicinal soup have? The big toad demon snorted coldly, and after saying a few harsh words, it saw its big mouth open, and a strong suction force emerged out of nowhere. The medicinal soup in the stone bowl was immediately sucked into its mouth. Then my eyes closed slightly and I began to feel the medicinal effects in my body. The demons looked at Su Wu again, who was now holding his hands as if he had a clear mind. Unfortunately, his body was covered in mud and he couldn't see the expression on his face clearly for a moment. Time slowly passed, but there were more and more monsters near the stall. About 15 minutes later. Suddenly, the big toad opened its eyes and let out a long breath. At the same time, its slightly pale surface turned slightly red in an instant. Gulauzis, what a powerful decoction. The medicinal properties of this Lashizi red small pill are really weak in toxins, and it also has a strong ability to replenish qi and blood. It's simply amazing. I'm going to sell another pound of blood now. The sound of the big toad is deafening and full of vitality. It's like being afraid that the monsters around you won't hear its voice. After this sentence was left behind, a group of demons emerged and headed straight to the Night Palace to collect blood. Really, it's really true. I know that big toad, a regular in the neighborhood, it can't deceive us. What are you waiting for? Buy it. The monsters around could no longer hold back and began to flock forward to make purchases. Isn't it just 1 pound of meat and 1 bowl of medicinal soup? With such a good blood-nourishing effect, it's better not to rush at this time. For a moment, everyone drank 1 bowl after another on the spot. Many originally pale-faced and weak-bodied monsters turn red and dizzy at a visible speed on zhaozuiyuan.com. Although their bodies are still weak, their qi and blood are indeed rising. It just doesn't seem like the exaggerated effect of the big toad demon. But even so, it still excites the demons immensely, and they flock to this so-called small pill soup. Some monsters even drink 2 bowls in a row, wishing to immediately make up for the lost qi and blood, and then sell the blood again. In this way, the 3 cans of soup and medicine that Su Wu had originally prepared were completely consumed in less than a quarter of an hour. And the required expenses are only 3 cans of water, 6 pieces of firewood, and a slightly adjusted medicinal mushroom, with a total value of about 10 pounds of dried meat. But the harvest was 30 pounds of dried meat. This unscrupulous guy divided a portion of medicinal soup into 3 cans, and then divided 1 can into 10 bowls for sale, with a profit of nearly 300%. Of course, he also has other expenses. For example, hiring 1 pound of meat jerky from trumpet beetles and 3 pounds of meat jerky from hiring a big toad as a support. That's right, the big toad demon that seems to be making things difficult for him everywhere is actually the one he brought. In this underground world where the people are simple and only know how to kill, his move is simply a blow to the demon clan in the neighborhood. However, Su Wu did not go too far, and the medicinal soup is indeed effective. Just under caution, although the blood-nourishing effect of blood mushrooms has been enhanced, it has not been fully enhanced. The toxin has also been weakened, but it has not been completely weakened. Compared to others, there is more than enough, and no one will doubt it, which is very in line with his slightly talented demon doctor setting. Of course, the performance of the big toad is a bit exaggerated. But this is not a matter. After all, the pictures are only for promotion, please refer to the actual product. Can this be called deception? Chapter 8. Proxy Demon. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Northwest of Xianxia. A hidden corner. The big toad scratched its buttocks with one hind leg, rubbed off a pile of oily black mud, then wrapped it in a few withered leaves, rolled it into a long stick, and held it in its mouth, igniting it with flint. Do you want one? Toad oil fume, it's really exciting. No need, you can smoke it yourself. Su Wu shook his head, suppressing his nausea and instinctively taking a few steps back. The big toad clicked and its huge beak flicked slightly, saying, "You're another guy who doesn't understand how to enjoy life. It's said that this thing is not for sale in the world above, only for use by human nobles." After finishing these words, it suddenly approached Su Wu, and after a flash of brilliance in its eyes, it chuckled and said, "Forget it, let's not talk about these anymore. I see you've earned a lot today, right? Do you want to continue working together?" Su Wu's expression remained unchanged as he shook his head and said lightly, "I haven't earned much. It's difficult to make this kind of soup. In order to reduce the toxicity of blood mushrooms and enhance their blood-nourishing effect, a lot of wood and water are needed, not to mention other herbs and seasonings. Just earn some hard money. But then again, how do you want to collaborate? In fact, he had already guessed that the big toad's idea was nothing more than agency sales and so on. I am also happy to see this matter resolved. After all, 2 days later, he needs to follow the requirements of the Black Cat and work at the new mine, so he naturally cannot personally handle the sales of soup and medicine. On the other hand, the Great Toad Demon, who has been mixed up in the local market for a long time, knows many demon clans of various levels and has moderate strength, can be considered a good proxy demon. At that time, the Great Toad Demon will be at the front desk, and he will retreat to command behind the scenes. In this way, it also avoids the risk of exposing oneself due to frequent public appearances. After all, no one can be certain whether any demon tribe will choose to take risks. Of course, if it weren't for the unpredictable and dangerous situation recently, Suwu would not have chosen to release blood mushroom soup at this time, as he needed more meat to quickly become stronger in order to protect himself. After weighing the pros and cons repeatedly, there is no choice but to make a choice. After the big deal, just kill the big toad demon. There is no worldly wisdom in the world of the demon race, only slaughter and bloodshed. Crossing rivers and demolishing bridges is nothing. How about I help you sell it? To be honest, your scattered sales of medicinal soup are a waste. I know many hunting teams, and as long as you hand it over to me for sale, I will definitely give you a good price. At that time, we will receive 30 to 70% of what we receive. But as agreed, you can only leave it to me to sell. As Suwu guessed, the big toad indeed had the idea of acting as an agent for medicinal soup. But this guy went further and even wanted to monopolize the sales rights. It can be seen from this that this guy's personality is absolutely extremely greedy. However, this also aligns with Suwu's intentions. The narrower the scope of this matter, the better. The current rampant sales are actually not good. After all, if a gun hits a bird, the tree will be broken by the wind. It's okay to hand it over to you for sale, but let's just open it for 3 or 7 days. Suwu shook his head and continued. Based on the current prices of medicinal herbs, water, and firewood, making small pill soup also requires about 30 pounds of dried meat. I won't ask you for more, just give me 40 pounds of dried meat for each medicinal soup. As for how you want to sell, how much jerky you want to sell, how many portions you want to divide, and so on, everything has nothing to do with me. He is basically a typical representative of lying with his eyes open. After hearing this, I saw a movement in the heart of the big toad. The toad took a fierce puff of oil smoke, pondered for a moment, and then continued speaking. This is also possible, but the price of 40 pounds is too expensive. You just sold 30 copies. I'll give you this price. This product is indeed being observed in secret, and it is clear how many copies Suwu has sold. No way. Suwu shook his head directly and continued, the first time I sold, I was in a business of making a profit and shouting. After all, there is an ancient saying among humans. Even the fragrance of wine fears the depth of the alley. I can only give you 2 pounds at most, 30.8 pounds of dried meat and 1 medicinal soup. If it's okay, I'll sell it myself. The big toad demon hesitated for a moment. After all, the demon race was still accustomed to fighting and killing, going straight. So he took another hard puff at the toad fumes before saying, a little less, 1 portion of 35 pounds of dried meat. I also have to go to the local market to offer a tribute, otherwise relying solely on our own strength. Occasionally selling this soup medicine is still possible, but if we want to sell it for a long time, it is impossible. Suwu nodded, and he naturally understood this truth. Just as he needs the great toad demon as a cover for himself and pays some benefits for it, the latter also needs to put on a layer of the skin of a local market manager to seek stability. If you want to eat alone, you also need to consider whether you will be stretched to death. Nevertheless, he pretended to be indecisive and remained silent for a long time before finally reluctantly saying, that's 35 pounds, but I've agreed with you that in the future, the price of wood, firewood, water, and medicinal herbs will increase, and this price will also increase accordingly. Also, it takes me about 10 days to make 1 pair of medicinal soup, about 3 pairs per month. Alright, I'll come here to trade with you every 10 days. You bring the dried meat, I bring the soup and medicine, and the money and goods will be settled. The amount of 3 medicinal herbs per month was carefully calculated by Su Wu. Making too much can easily attract the scrutiny of stronger individuals, while making too little can result in dried meat that cannot keep up with one's own cultivation consumption. And the San Pai Yao Tang, no more, no less, just right. Those powerful demons who have the ability to ignore the protection of the local managers and directly threaten them over the big toad will not care about the monthly quantity of 100 pounds of dried meat in this area. Even if you care, it's not cost-effective. Of course, when it comes to prevention, one still needs to be careful. After all, in the underground karst cave, there are many demons like the cat demon Black Xian who suffer from snake spirit disease. If you look for the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com, it doesn't mean there are none, but rather there are many demons present. So Su Wuxia set the trading location in the local market, and every time he came, he would dress up in various disguise, and when he left, he would also choose to go around. Be careful again, be careful again. 2 days later. The period of rapid growth brought about by local meat has finally gradually dissipated. Realm. Refining 11/100. Next, the experience of increasing the realm is extremely slow. Even with sufficient support from dried meat and crazy exercise, it only takes 3 to 5 days to refine a little spiritual energy and add a little realm experience. The slow speed is excruciating. After all, dried meat is only used for satisfying the stomach and slightly restoring qi and blood. The spiritual energy contained in it is very rare and has no medicinal properties, completely inferior to those precious medicinal herbs. Originally, Su Wu had prepared a blood mushroom, but after changing the medicinal properties, it was still a 0-level blood mushroom. Apart from having a better effect on replenishing qi and blood, it did not transform into a shiitake mushroom. The plan to rely on mushroom cultivation has been abandoned. This also made him understand that not all medicinal herbs can be mutated or upgraded. As for whether it is due to the total amount of drug properties or other factors, or even just a matter of probability, the sample size of the current experiment is too small, and there is currently no consensus. Practice is too slow. It's best to search for a low-value medicinal herb that has medicinal effects such as bone forging and bone marrow stimulating, even if it contains extremely low medicinal effects. There is also the issue of new mines. Today is the 3rd day, and the Night Palace should have announced the news and started to recruit mining monsters on a large scale, right? Hey, it's a tumultuous autumn. Chapter 9. Pulling Tiger Skin and Pulling Big Flag. You are listening at novelfull.audio. P.S. Kneeling for support, collecting and reading. Today's neighborhood market is somewhat deserted. Yesterday, the Night Palace announced the information of the new mining site, and took advantage of this opportunity to recruit a large number of mining demons to go to the mining cave to mine, which caused the deserted market. Surprisingly, new mining sites have actually been discovered. After careful inquiry, Su Wu was secretly surprised in his heart. The mine discovered during this night tour of the palace is not in the abandoned mine area, but rather in a deep karst well not too far from the sewage field. Mineral resources are a spiritual substance called blood iron. It is said to be a precious item needed by the demon tribe during the spirit building period. In addition, there are many seemingly false rumors and stories circulating. For example, some monsters confidently claim that strange monsters have been discovered in the deep well of the cave, resembling a giant human race but with 3 heads and 6 arms. Some people also say that deep in the mine, it is like an bottomless abyss, with a large number of human skeletons in deeper positions, but those skeletons are as black as ink, with winged bones on their backs, which is extremely strange. It is even said that many monsters from previous exploration have undergone pollution distortion. In short, various rumors are rampant, all with noses and eyes. However, for the bottom demon tribes in most sewage fields, mining is still a rare task, even if it is somewhat dangerous, they still flock to it. After all, digging 10 pounds of ore can be exchanged for 1 pound of jerky, which is really delicious. In the center of the square, there is a huge stone house. This is the stronghold of the Night Palace to recruit mining demons. At this moment, demons were gathering around the stronghold, and from time to time, bursts of angry curses could be heard. You can't do it. I'm too thin, I haven't had a few ounces of flesh on my chest yet. What kind of mine are you digging? Go back and pinch it a bit bigger before you come back. You can't do it either. The dung beetle demon is only suitable for digging dung, go back to your dung pit. And you, the three of you, take a look at yourself. One looks like a short winter melon, one looks like a hammer, and the other looks like a coal ball. The crooked melon cracks the jujube, which is eye-catching. Hurry up and get out. A werewolf was standing in front of the stone house, boasting loudly and arrogantly. Several little monsters who came here to apply for mining monsters were all sprayed with dog blood. This product is called Carnival and is a member of the lower level of the Night Palace. Today, he is responsible for recruiting mining demons here. I don't know if it's intentional to make things difficult, but there are very few monsters in its hands that meet the standards of mining monsters. When it was Su Wu's turn, this guy had his nose in the air and didn't even glance at him. Just rubbing 2 fingers secretly, seeing that he didn't show any signs, he was ready to continue cursing, "Your grandfather, blind thing, you." Bang! A black token suddenly fell out of Su Wu's arms. The frenzy grew even angrier, and a bloodthirsty aura surged out, ready to kill the unintelligent little snake demon casually. However, out of the corner of his eye, he suddenly saw the appearance of the token. This token, mommy, isn't this really the mining inspector of the living king of hell? A hint of fear surged in my heart, and a smile immediately appeared on the face covered in wolf fur during the carnival. The wolf's tail was sandwiched between its legs, and I cautiously asked. Mine Patrol History Order. Are you a subordinate of Lord Black Xian? I don't know what the inspector of mines has to say. The goods were immediately hesitant, and their attitude could be described as a 180-degree turn. Sure enough, with He Xian's unpredictable and neurotic personality, anyone who is a normal demon is afraid. Perhaps 1 or 2 can be utilized. In an instant, various thoughts flashed through Su Wu's mind, and he immediately arched his hand towards the frenzy, saying calmly, "Your Excellency misunderstood. I was just following the orders of the mining inspector to come here and find a job. There's no need for any instructions, you can handle it as a matter of business." He did not explain the origin of the token. Although it may seem like passing the buck and expressing a misunderstanding, it actually reinforces this speculation even more. Following Black Xian's orders. What kind of command would that be? Fools believe it's just for a job. He used the technique of pulling the tiger skin and flag to the fullest extent. Anyway, the token is indeed black and mysterious, genuine and fair, both young and old. As for what the other party thinks and how they try to brainstorm, it has nothing to do with him. Sure enough, as his words fell, I saw the wolf demon's face change again, and even his breath unconsciously lightened by 3 points. He looked like he wanted to ask something, but didn't dare to say more. Can only whisper in the end, is Lord Black Xian doing it for Su Wu? Forbidden. Don't say it, I don't even know. Upon hearing this, the carnival quickly patted its head and glanced left and right before continuing in frustration, "Look at my brain. How can I say this in public? Your Excellency, come with me and let's go sit in the stone house." Yen Ba then turned his head and instructed the little demons on both sides, saying loudly, "You guys continue to recruit mining demons. I have some important matters to discuss with this adult. Remember to keep a good watch on the men. If anyone doesn't follow the rules, let them go immediately." After hearing this, it led Su Wu into the stone house. Both are seated. After the two fox maidens served some fresh jerky and raised a bonfire, they celebrated and grilled the fire, whispering again, "Did Lord Black Xian ask you to come for that thing?" Suwu remained silent, just maintaining a faint smile. "Guess, keep guessing." "I understand. I am currently working hard to recruit qualified mining monsters these days. I will definitely prepare sufficient blood and food, and it will not delay the blood sacrifice and mining." Carnival nodded, with a look that I fully understood. Blood sacrifice. Su Wu's heart moved, but on the surface, he remained calm. As he had guessed before, there was indeed something similar to demon and eerie appearing in the underground cave area, and it is highly likely related to the new mining cave in the Night Palace. Furthermore, it can be associated with the bitter and eerie medicinal properties in the flesh of the earth, which are even more pronounced when restless. I did a good job a few days ago, and Lord Black Xian was quite satisfied. But we, as subordinates, have not done enough. Only by doing better can we share the burden with the higher-ups, right? It's not appropriate to keep silent, so Su Wu said ambiguously. It seems like something was said, but after careful consideration, it seems like nothing was said. However, in everything, the most afraid thing is brain teasers. Looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, and Werewolf Carnival clearly knows the way of brain teasers. After hearing these words, it feels like Black Xian is praising it on the spot, so he can't stop laughing and nods repeatedly, saying, "Right, right, we need to do better. Your Excellency, you are truly a subordinate of the Inspector of Mines. If you know more, you will know more." How did humans say that? Pattern, yes, this is called pattern. It is truly admirable and sincere from the bottom of my heart. Especially the ability to flatter. Alright, let's not talk about that for now. Su Wu waved his hand and continued, "But I do need to find a solution this time. After all, this matter was instructed by the mining inspector Shifun. The elderly may not care, but for me, the process that needs to be followed still needs to be followed. So can you arrange one or two things on your end?" He found that the more refined he was, the more respectful the wolf demon across from him became. Is it difficult for the upper echelons of the demon race to enjoy the popularity of human culture and knowledge? This is not difficult to understand, after all, people with a strong mentality have had it since ancient times. The carnival nodded repeatedly and hurriedly said, okay, there's no problem at all. You can just take it easy, sir. I'm sure this matter will be handled properly for you." Next, the wolf demon began to introduce in detail, including the activities inside the mine, as well as some basic information and architectural composition of the mine. As a result, Su Wu also gained a general understanding of the new mine. After careful consideration for a long time, Zai continued, "Actually, I am a slightly talented demon doctor, and I am also doing things related to this under the hands of the Inspector of Mines. So, what kind of job do you think is suitable for me in the new mine?" Chapter 10. Earthly Qi Upwelling and Bitter Evil Descending. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Be cautious from the heart, think twice before acting. Due to my limited understanding of the new mine, I also need to be cautious about what kind of work I am requesting. At such times, one must not take the initiative to choose. Instead, it would be more advantageous to kick the ball out and let the frenzied imagination make decisions for him. You have chosen it well. In the future, I will give you a few beautiful words in the empty Black Xian. If you can't make a good choice, then wait for me to put on my little shoes. Just ask if you're afraid, dare you not put in your heart. After hearing that Su Wu claimed to be a demon doctor, Carnival breathed a long sigh of relief and said, "Demon doctor. You are actually a demon doctor. The demon doctor is so good. To be honest, just now I was worried about what would be suitable for recommending you for the position. We can't delay Lord Black Xian's affairs, nor can we make you feel wronged. But this kind of position is very rare in the new mine. It's just a carrot and a pit, there's no surplus at all. But you're a demon doctor, so there's a win-win solution right now. Upon hearing this, Su Wu immediately showed a knowing smile and arched his hand, immediately saying, there is a common saying among humans that great kindness cannot be thanked. If there is an opportunity in the future, I will stand in front of the inspector of mines and say a few good words to Brother Wolf. But as you know, I am new here after all. Although I know some things about the new mine, I am not very detailed. As for the best of both worlds. He sat upright, showing a very interested look. The wolf demon grinned directly, waiting for Su Wu's words, and then happily explained, saying, most of the work in the new mine is very dangerous. The mining demon and the monster responsible for transportation are both easily eroded by evil energy and are blood sacrificial items. As for the guard demon and supervisor demon, the risk is also not small. Recently, 3 protective demons with 4 levels of refining spirit have died due to violating taboos. As for other tasks, such as managing supplies, distributing dried meat, recruiting mining monsters, and collecting and transporting demon blood, they are slightly safer. However, these tasks are even more scarce. Even I have to become a slightly dangerous mine manager after recruiting these mining demons. Although that was the case, the wolf in the frenzy had a proud expression on its face. Su Wu naturally knew why. Due to the large size of the new mine, the distribution of minerals is uneven. So mining minerals is allocated according to mining sites, and each mining site is responsible for a group of monsters. Including but not limited to transport monsters, mining monsters, guard monsters, and so on. And the existence of these monsters under unified management is the mine manager. So the carnival is considered a promotion. No wonder this guy personally recruited mining monsters. It is estimated that new mining sites have been mined and there is an urgent need for a group of monsters to go. Due to severe pollution caused by evil spirits, all mining sites have the position of demon doctors. My main job is to boil some exorcism medicine soup, or make some blood tonifying potions, and also work part-time to treat the heads and minds of mining points. After all, big shots are more afraid of death. Originally, the number of demon doctors in each mining point was already full, but don't you think it's a coincidence? I just received a new mining point. Although I recruited a new demon doctor yesterday, that guy actually stepped into the door with his left foot. It's really unreasonable. Just got fired by me. So Snake Brother, do you think you should make do with it and join me first? The wild wolf finally spoke out his thoughts. This guy is also a smart demon. In this way, not only can he take the opportunity to follow the path of Black Xian, but he can also find a good demon doctor for himself. After all, being able to serve as a demon doctor for those like Black Xian is definitely a good talent for medical skills. At that time, there will be significant security measures. Since that's the case, then trouble Brother Wolf in the future. Su Wu pushed the boat along the water, and the two immediately looked at each other with a smile. After finalizing his position, the carnival allowed him to rest for the time being, while he walked out of the stone house and continued to recruit mining demons. You few are not qualified. What reason? I want to kill you. Is this called a reason? You crooked melon and cracked jujube. Cough cough, are you still quite cute, Xianxia demon clan? Much smarter than that fellow idiot in front of you. Don't worry, you look so beautiful. You must be a part of the mining industry. While partying, he took the jerky and opened his eyes to a grotesque pig-headed monster and a dung beetle demon, talking nonsense. After finishing his busy work, he turned around and saw Su Wu staring at it steadily. He quickly sneered and explained, the higher-ups don't care about these things. As long as we complete the task, you're right. You are also a demon who understands human relationships and worldly wisdom. When someone looks at the dishes and dishes, you look at the dried meat and dishes. Su Wu remained calm and pointed out, "It's okay. We can't eat meat on top, and we little ones can't go hungry either. It's appropriate to have some soup. But don't delay too long either. In a while, the mining inspector may come to find me. If he is found, even I won't be able to explain it. I haven't even tasted the soup yet, should you express it?" "Yes, yes." Nodding wildly, hearing that Black Xian might come to search for Su Wu, my heart trembled. Invisibly, the energy of the latter suddenly deepened by 3 points. After thinking for a moment, this guy gritted his teeth and took out 1/3 of the jerky he had obtained, about 70.80 pounds, and handed it to Su Wu. In other words, in the future, they will all be demons along the way, and he should have his share of these jerky meat. Since this guy is so successful, Su Wu naturally cannot continue to scare him. After all, as the saying goes, holding someone's hand is short, and eating someone's mouth is soft. In the following days, the carnival continued to recruit mining demons. And Su Wu returned to his old nest. While waiting for the start time, I devoted myself to cultivation. The unease in his heart is increasing day by day, and he must further enhance his strength. At the same time, 100 miles southwest of Los Angeles, in a mass grave. The bright moonlight hung in the sky, reflecting the gloomy cemetery with unparalleled clarity. 7 sneaky guys are stirring up something in the cemetery. "Boss, is your message accurate? It's just a mass grave, there's no treasure there." This is actually a group of tomb robbers, speaking to the shortest and youngest one, with a mischievous and extremely sleazy appearance. "Xiao Qi, please speak less nonsense. I have received definite news that there is an ancient tomb from 3,000 years ago in this disorderly burial mound, which definitely contains a big treasure. Hurry up and search for it carefully. If you find the treasure, you can marry 3 women for each of you when you go back." The leading strong man said without looking back. As soon as this sentence was spoken, it immediately sparked excitement among the others and immediately dispersed in all directions. Some have started to observe the mountains by borrowing the moon, some have followed the star-searching directions, and some have simply dug down a few shovels randomly. In short, the 8 immortals crossed the sea and each shows their divine abilities. However, until late at night, there was still no harvest. A group of people reluctantly gave up and gathered together again, only to find that one person was missing from the team, leaving only 6 people. "Where is Xiao Qi?" The strong man, led by Xiao Lu, was taken aback and looked around under the moonlight, but did not notice his figure. He immediately frowned. "You guys quickly spread out and search. Look at what that bastard is up to." The strong man commanded again. However, this time it was even more strange. As his words fell, several people around him remained motionless, looking for the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com, all keeping their heads down and silent. "What are you doing? Raise your head." The strong man felt uneasy in his heart and quietly took out an exorcism spell from his arms, then suddenly threw it out. Next second. Boom. I saw the exorcism talisman instantly ignite a pale green light, accompanied by the appearance of this light, and the moonlight and darkness around it were also dispersed. And the few people who had originally lowered their heads were even closer, almost within reach. At this moment, they all raised their heads, and their empty eyes were constantly flowing with pitch-black juice. Their faces were all replaced by the already missing faces of Xiaoqi. However, these faces have become incredibly twisted, filled with pain and evil. "Boss, help me, I'm good, how painful. I don't turn into mushroom." Whispers and whispers kept ringing, and under the scorching green light of the exorcism spell, the flesh and blood of several people around began to break apart, as if rapidly melting, causing the entire body to collapse from the inside out. After only 3 to 5 seconds, there were only a few twisted faces on the ground that were almost identical to Xiao Qi's. And on top of these faces, there are clumps of blood-red substances curled up. He is very similar to the ground meat. The earth's atmosphere is surging, and bitter evil is coming. Ha ha. Ha ha. The strong man who saw this scene suddenly burst out laughing wildly, then suddenly picked up a piece of ground meat from the ground, swallowed the mud and meat directly into his stomach, and rushed straight into the depths of the mass grave. There's no such thing as Shao Qi. Everything is fake.